This is a test of the boundary part alert system.
It's a different game to Halifax. We had all the ball. They've got more of the ball. When we get it, we've just got to try and get it wide and get it in
the box.
Yeah, it's just got to be more patient.
Get a couple of plays in the box.
Got to be a lot more switched on off the ball, haven't we?
Blue and tangerine.
Blue and tangerine. The blue and tangerine. Way all playing. Blue and tangerine. Okay, now give it. That's the ball.
Who's in the box now? Who's in the box?
Oh! Fucking hell, that was a good move! Good move! Really good move! Tangerine! Come on! They massively fucked up, didn't they, after that we had that chance? Played out, I don't know what happened, but he went straight to Garner and he just fucking lashed it in.
Passed it out from the back.
Fucked him out, didn't they?
5 minutes ago, he'll get him into
Fucked him out and found out. What a great finish from Garner. Volley, boom. The bad side.
Come on!
We travel near and far. But you'll always hear us rolling. For the sons of every bar, everybody fucking goes. Go on, Mikey! Give it young and heavy. marching! Away the Blues! We're marching in! Whatever will be, will be. We're going to Wembley. Que sera, sera. Que sera, sera. What the fuck? Fucking hell.
Hello and welcome to the Boundary Park Alert System. I've got goosebumps as big as Mickey's melons on my arms and legs right now after listening back to that. You may have guessed that was York away in the playoff semi-final last week. As you can probably tell, I couldn't quite believe what was going on as it unfolded. There's there was obviously the reaction to all three goals there. I recorded Andy. Hello, Andy. Welcome.
Morning.
As usual. You all right, mate?
Yeah,
I recorded. I put a little lapel mic on, and there was 2.5 hours of solid atmosphere from before the game right up to the end of the game. So I was like, bloody hell! And I could see it on the wave clips, like where the goals were, because it was just this massive, intense, non-stop block of noise as the audio clipped out completely. The goals between the timing between Jorgensen and Pritchard's goal there was real time. That's how it happened. That they were that close together. I didn't even realise at the time just how close together they were. But bloody hell, what a night! What an occasion! I'm just gutted that you couldn't be there, and I'm gutted that whoever's listening and couldn't be there as well. It was extremely special. So we obviously are going to talk about that. We are obviously looking ahead to Wembley. So this is a London-centric show. We've got two people who are in London at the moment on the show. So Andy, you're one of them.
I am.
Are you going to set up the next one for us, please?
Well, how many times has this fan guest been on? I think it's probably his 4th or 5th, maybe.
I'm surprised you bothered asking him, to be honest, at this stage. I was a bit sick of him, but there we go.
Yeah. I've done the intro questions a million times, so I won't bother this time. We can get stuck into the core of it. But yeah, we got Mike Keegan on this morning. Mike Keegan from a hotel lobby somewhere in London, having covered the Sunderland Sheffield United game as part of his journalist job. He's on mute at the minute because he's in a hotel lobby. We'll unmute him to say hello. Unmute him.
I want to do that myself. Morning. How are you doing?
All right. How was yesterday at Wembley?
We were even playing and I felt sick. It's just, you look at what it means to both those clubs. I mean, I got the tube in, sat next to a Sheffield United fan, and he said they've been in the playoffs 9 times and lost all 9 times, never won at Wembley. So you're kind of looking at that thinking, God, I hope that's not us next weekend. Yeah, and then you come out of the stadium at the end of the game and you're looking at the Sunderland fans and you're just thinking, wouldn't that be nice? And then I went in for breakfast this morning. 2 Sheffield United fans clearly walked past, and one says to his mate, I've not checked my phone and I don't want to see an effing newspaper. I thought, God, I hope that's not us this time next week.
Yeah, because you obviously we're all old enough to remember us being at Wembley twice in the 90s and coming away empty-handed both times. Not that it was anything other than a final place in 94, but so you start thinking, surely third time. Look, it couldn't possibly happen to us a third time. Well, Sheffield United are unfortunately proof that it can. So we'll just have to keep our fingers crossed. Mike, will you be there at Wembley on June the 1st?
Yeah, certainly will. Going down on Saturday. I've promised myself on the Saturday night, don't get smashed and wake up with a hangover, because you've really got to kind of savour it on Sunday. And then, staying down Sunday night as well. If we lose, I'll be going straight to the hotel and going to bed. And if we win, I probably won't go to bed. So we'll see how it plays out. But I think it's hard, isn't it? Because you really want to enjoy it. But I was at York on Tuesday night. That all brought it back. And you just can't, because it's Latics and it's like crazy. We were 4 minutes into additional time. They've got a stupid thing now in the National League. I don't know if you've noticed, where they're not holding up the board to tell you how many minutes had been added. Apparently it's aimed at stopping pitch invasions. I mean, obviously that worked. And there's 4 minutes of injury time gone. We're winning 3-0. And I'm screaming at the referee to blow his whistle. One of my mates is like, it's fine. Not even we could mess it up from here. So it's difficult. Like if that final whistle goes and we've won, it'll be one of the best days of our lives. Yeah.
I agree with you. I was nervous as well, even at 3-0. There's a point on that recording, it's not in there, but it's like, God, if I'm this, I said, if the clock's ticking down this slowly at 3-0, imagine what it would have been like at 1-0. Because I remember looking over to the scoreboard to me right constantly, like just thinking, God, if they get one, who knows? Oh, but I've got to give a shout out. I mean, obviously the atmosphere came across there, it came across on the telly and everything else, but I was absolutely exhausted on the Wednesday. I went down to London for an event. Got the train down in the morning, and by the afternoon I was aching physically. Because it was like 2.5 hours of just constant cheering and clapping and singing, and it was really just a response. I think even at 3-0, it was like the team worked so hard, and I think that defensively and the ground they covered and the tackles they were putting in, and how organised they were. And just to stop York from creating chances, they were absolutely magnificent. And I think every single fan in the ground could see that. And our job was to keep motivating them, to make every tackle, to cover every yard, to keep that going right until the end of the game. And it was that sort of sense of unity, which kicked off in the Halifax game, really, that makes me feel that we've got a fighting chance against Southend. I think Southend, we can talk a little bit about them. There's a guy just starting a new podcast who got in touch with me to speak to him this morning about the National League. So I had a chat with him. And the question Andy was asking me was like, how confident were you going into the playoffs? How confident are you against Southend? And it's like, well, if you'd have asked us against Ebbsfleet at the end of the season, it's a completely different answer to what it is now. What's changed, Andy, do you think? Can it be summed up?
I can't. We had this conversation when you came down on Wednesday and we met up for dinner. I don't understand what he did on Tuesday night against York was tactically start them with a high press, and he's got this nice balance of midfield where he's got some with legs, some who'll tackle, some who can dictate. Everything's balanced perfectly. Why wasn't he doing that from January to May? That's the fascinating thing. I know we've had personnel issues, but tactically, in these last two games, we've been superb. And it's kind of baffling to the guy. It's absolutely fantastic, and long may it continue. But it's unbelievable, isn't it? Because if you'd have set the team up like this when we were losing at home to Aldershot and Maidenhead, you'd have assumed we'd have picked up more points.
Mike, can you put your finger on it? What do you think the big difference is?
I think having the time to work with these players, to be fair to the manager. Obviously, we know what happened, and it was nobody's fault with Josh Stones, Clucas, and it's kind of you can't. He's had to build. I know he said it himself. He's had to build a couple, maybe even 3 teams this season. So it takes a while to figure out, what the best formation's going to be, how they can play best together. I don't think you can underestimate Manny coming back in defence. That's a massive bonus. It's not a coincidence that's coincided with a big upturn. And I think he's been around the block so often. He is a playoff specialist. And I think once it gets to a stage in the season where you think we're pretty much in now, I don't know this. I'm just kind of an educated guess, but I would have thought he's been playing for these playoffs planning for these playoffs for a number of weeks now, and we're getting to see the fruits of that. And then, you drop in a wild card like Yoga Nathan, and it's like, did many of us see that coming in his first couple of games? He looked like he had a lot of skill, but he got brushed off the ball quite a bit. And then all of a sudden, he's had a few more games to adjust to it all, and he's looking like an absolute world beater. So I'm not questioning it. I'm just enjoying it. What's done's done. We made the playoffs. We're 90 minutes away from getting promoted. We are where we are. Who cares at this stage about, some of the more disappointing moments of the season?
Well, we have to speculate on things, and we have to, fill an hour or so. So let me throw a conspiracy theory at you. What do you think that Mickey Mellon didn't fancy finishing second or third? Once he figured out that we weren't going to win the title, he didn't want us to be in that second and third spot, because look what's happened to Forest Green, look what's happened to York. That 2 weeks without playing, it doesn't seem to favour the teams that finish in those positions. So it has the wily old dog been like, well, maybe we'll just drop a few points here against Maidstone, is it? Or Maidenhead?
Maidenhead.
Yeah, I'll never get that. Am I just? I mean, come on! You work for a newspaper, Mike. Making stuff up just to get a few clicks, a bit of attention is not uncommon in that industry.
Cheers, lad. See you later.
Hey, I didn't name a particular paper. I meant the industry, but does that hold any credit, or am I talking out my bum?
I think you're talking out your bum on both counts.
On all counts.
I just can't see that was a consideration. I think it's more, once we think we're in the playoffs, then you start thinking about keeping your players fit, what you're going to do in the playoffs. But I can't imagine for a second he's looked at that and thought, well, there's no point finishing second and third. We're best off, finishing where we finish so we get straight into it. We don't get the time off that they do. But I think it's valid to say that break clearly didn't do York and Forest Green any good. And the momentum that you can build while they're sat on their arses doing nothing clearly works in your favour, not just for us, but for Southend as well.
I mean, the atmosphere was so incredible at Boundary Park for the Halifax quarter-final. Obviously, we'd have finished second or third. We'd have been at home for the semi-final straight away. So it may or may not have been. Look, it's hypotheticals, isn't it? But the main thing is that we are all absolutely buzzing like we haven't been buzzing. You're wearing a shirt there from the 89-90 campaign last time we went to Wembley, Mike. We've not felt this kind of excitement. I mean, some people have never felt this kind of excitement, and for me it feels different, Andy, because it feels to me like we've tasted something so sweet back in the day, and some of our fans know that that's happened and know that they missed it. And we've had such a long time away from anything like this. It feels, I mean, it's going to be different. It's a different era. It's a different team. We're in a different place. But there's just something about this. And I think certainly the atmospheres at the two games, and I think it'll be reflected at Wembley. But the queues, maybe it's just because my memory of the last time people were queuing around the blocks is quite distant. Do you know, it's a long time ago now, isn't it? I was only a little boy. I'm a grown man now, so it does feel very different to me in that respect.
Yeah. I think the thing that is noticeable is how unifying it can be. So that we've had little pockets of it, haven't we? Like at Leighton Orient and Tranmere, you could feel the atmosphere when everyone's together. Well, this little run again, it's only been a couple of games, but it's been, measurably better than anything that's come before this season, really, is unifying everyone together. And when frustration's been boiling over at various points this season and people have been getting on either the players back or shouting at Mickey Mellon or whatever it may be, this little moment here, if we can do it next week on Sunday, it could be the thing that gets everyone together for a significant period of time. And this could be the beginning of a significant number of seasons where we're challenging at the top end of whatever division we're in, which is what I've always thought would be the case. And I've said for a long time is once we get going, we're going to be difficult to stop for a bit because we are way below our par. There is much further ahead of us that we can aim for over the course of the next few years, whether it happens now or whether it happens in the next couple of seasons. So it's really unifying. And yeah, like you, I'm delighted to see the look on some of the younger fans' faces that I've seen up and down the country for the last 15, 20 years who've seen nothing, as well as, greedily my own kids. My own kids are excited to go to Wembley and letting them stay up and watch these two games with me. I haven't been to see them live, but it's been lovely moments where we're jumping around the front room, hugging each other. And yeah, it's a really amazing feeling to be a Latics fan. And it does remind me what it was like in the 80s and the 90s. It is different now I'm older, but there is an element of nostalgia to it. I concede to sort of welling up at certain times over the last week, like uncontrollably, like not sobbing with tears, but feeling emotional over it. So it's a great feeling at the minute. If you just go back to the thing that Mickey Mellon's done is, obviously we know he's signed lots of experienced players with, hundreds of football league games behind them. And he's been criticised for that because they're injury prone, like Corey Evans, and what have you. But with a little bit of luck and fortune, they've all come back to fitness at the same time. They've all played well together, and they're big match players, aren't they? So, some of these players cannot, I don't think. Mickey Mellon has said, I'm not telling them to go out there and play 40-yard diagonal balls, humping it forward all the time. I'm not telling them to do that. They're making those decisions on a pitch. And sometimes you're scratching your head wondering whether that's his tactic or not. But in these last two games, we've used the long ball as a threat, but not incessantly, have we? We've mixed it up. We've got round the back. We've played it through the lines. We've played long ball. We've been a bit patient at times. So these players can do it, but they come alive for a playoff game. They find it hard to get themselves up for Maidenhead at home.
Yeah, I mean, Mike, I was where I was stood in the stand on against York. I could see sort of like the booze bus lot all to my right, a bit further down. There was a lot of looking at each other and blowing kisses, and But at one point, Gaza Palooza, who famously had a few choice words to say to Mickey Mellon at Dagenham, turned round and he just went and he mouthed, because I couldn't hear otherwise, he just went, all is forgiven. Like that. And because what a difference it makes when you're in this situation. Mike, from your own point of view, from a personal point of view, how concerned were you in the second half of the season about the performances and whether we were going to have what it took to get out of this division at this time of asking?
Yeah, pretty concerned. I think anybody who said that they weren't would be lying. But you can't. Look, it's easy for people who aren't fans invested in it. But if this, I was just thinking, if this was another club and you're looking at it from from like a journalist point of view, you can't judge anyone until it's done. I mean, look at Spurs. Everyone's like, Angie's a joke. Somebody called him a clown. Get him out. Rah, rah, rah. And yet, I saw an amazing video on Twitter this morning that Spurs had posted where all their fans on the parade gathered and they all told the club who they dedicated that final success to, that Europa League win. One of the best things that I've ever seen. I'm nearly in tears watching that, and I'm not a Spurs fan. So you can't judge anything until it's done. And I think the reality was, we were always, whilst it got a bit nervous at times, we were always in a playoff spot. So to get rid of the guy who has signed all those players, the guy who's got his own backroom team, the guy that you've invested so much in, just didn't make any sense. Even if the season had petered out and we'd have, disastrously ended up missing out on the playoffs, for me, it still would have been the right call to basically hold your judgment until it's done. And it's not done. And here we are. And just picking up on Andy's point about those of us that haven't been to Wembley, that aren't as old as us, who've been fortunate enough to see those glory days. When I did the book, the reasons were twofold. One was to get that story told for the people that were in and around it, but the second was because obviously that was when the people that we don't talk about were in charge of the club, and we couldn't dream that a day like this that we're going to get next weekend was going to come up. And I just think, one of my mates said the other day, they should build a statue of the Atleticos outside that ground, because for that group, I remember when all that started and they're in the Rochdale Road and, pottering around in there, and there's, not very many of them in this big stand. And their impact can't be underestimated. They set the tone before the Halifax game. And we will remember it. We were all kids when we played Arsenal, the likes of that. it's a long time ago. I don't think the atmosphere at Boundary Park, and I'll say it, was as good against in the cup runs as it was before that Halifax game. I've never known all three stands right behind the team from about an hour before kickoff. And like, for me, you can get emotional, you can get carried away. Halifax can't deal with that. Now, the sad thing for me is I'd have fancied Forest Green at Wembley because I quite wanted it to be at home. I know that's not in the spirit of things. Absolutely nothing against Southend, who are a great club, who've been through, a lot of similarities with us. But I just think this is kind of a tiny bit of payback for those kids and for those people younger than us that have never experienced something like this. And Andy talked about getting emotional, like when we walk out at Wembley, and you'll see that it's, whether we win or we lose, that's something you'd hope you take away from that day.
Yeah, no, I agree wholeheartedly. And the Atleticos have made a massive difference. And I think, the club has and is growing in stature all the time from where it was, and that word of the potential of Oldham Athletic was bandied around a lot when things were really, really down. But it's starting to come alive now, and I agree with you about the atmosphere. I think it was that atmosphere against Halifax was the best atmosphere at Boundary Park I've ever experienced for a full 90 minutes, or for like before, and it was incredible. Because we've never had the Rochdale Road end like that before. I mean, it's a superior stand to the Chaddy end. It's bigger. It's got better acoustics. So that we had the Joe Royal stand as well, which is probably better acoustically than the Looker stand used to be. So all these sort of factors. Obviously there was no roof on the Rochdale Road end back in the day. So yeah, it was incredible. I think going back to the point you were talking about with Spurs, and obviously United, delightfully, United were on the losing end of that final, and their season is the worst they've had since before Alex Ferguson took over. But when you were talking about Spurs winning that trophy and about Mickey Mellon, and obviously me and Andy are the last people that are going to say we told you so, but we did tell you so, just to keep the patience with the manager, and that we were in the play. Everything you said, Mike, before. But with maybe Ange now at Tottenham can kick on next season because they've won something, and they've done like Ferguson did with the FA Cup when they beat us in 1990 and they beat Palace in the final. They needed that, didn't they? And Ferguson needed it, that bit of success, and he's off. We needed this. We needed it, and Mickey Mellon needed it. There's no question about it, and everybody at the club needed it. Getting an impressive playoff performance against Halifax and against York, and now we're Wembley final. This has made a massive difference to next season in terms of everybody's interest, season ticket sales. Be interesting to know where we're at with season ticket sales. Obviously we're going to get Wembley out of the way first, but what a difference this has made. And hopefully now, because Mickey Mellon has completed a season at Latics, he's the first manager in a long, long time to do it. And then we're going into next season with his players. Next season now, regardless of what division we're in, just could be even better than this one, and hopefully it will be, because momentum is building. And I hope it is for Spurs as well. Obviously, and I hope United's lack of momentum carries on. And I was gigging last night in a United pub, so I took great joy in telling them that I'm looking forward to meeting them in League One in a couple of seasons. So it's all about momentum, and we've not had it for such a long time, and now here we are. We're not peaked by a long stretch, but this is as good as it's been to be a Latics fan for a long, long time. And this transformation has occurred over a few weeks, so you can't ever say it's boring.
Can I just point out, United have currently got 1 point less than we did the year we got relegated from the Premier League.
Wow.
And just as well on the game being the one that turns it around for Spurs and Ange, let's not forget United won the FA Cup last year and gave Ten Hag another couple of years, and see how that one turned out. So
yeah, that's true.
Should we just talk about how I think the mindset of when you go into games, like how confident you are, and there's a balance between confidence and overconfidence. Arrogance sometimes is a good thing, a swagger, but that overconfidence can sometimes bite you on the bum. You made an appearance this week on the York podcast, Matt, didn't you?
I did, yeah.
Where I've clipped 4 minutes from that podcast, which we should play now, and then just have a little discussion about it afterwards.
On Friday, the 11th of July, Billington's Oldham and indietributes.co.uk present Oasis Live 25. If you're not at the opening night of the Oasis reunion, bring it on down to Billington's to enjoy Oasis, the live Oasis tribute, playing the biggest tunes by the band that will live forever. Enjoy cigarettes and alcohol, indulge in a champagne supernova, but please lay off the Columbia stuff. Listen up, stay young and never fade away as DJ Chris Gallagher provides more supersonic sounds from rock and roll stars until 2 a.m. Tickets on sale now from billingtons.co.uk, price just £7.50 or £10 on the night. Get in the mood for Oasis with Oasif, Live 25 at Billingtons, Friday the 11th of July. So if we can hit the levels that they're capable of, then I think we're going to this tie pretty much equal. To be honest with you, I think it's 50-50. I think because I think with all our players back and on our day, we're as good as York and Barnet. To be honest with you, I think we've just not had enough of our best players available enough of the time this season. Thankfully, though, at the business end, they're all available. So let's just hope that they're fresh enough and fit enough to meet the standard to beat York. Because it's going to be hard. We've been there 3 times in the National League. We've not lost, but we've not won either. So it does have the feeling that it might go all the way, this one.
And having said all that about playoff games being unpredictable, can I get you to do a score prediction? Or if you're pushed, what do you think it's going to be?
I want to say we're going to win 2-1 in normal time because that would just be beautiful, or 1-0. The 1-1 score line that is, we've had a few times. Was it 0-0, 1-1 twice? Is it?
I think it's been 1-1 all 3 times.
Was it 1-1 all 3 times? Yeah. So that score line is kind of like floating around. I've got a feeling it might be a draw after 90 minutes, and then anything can happen after that, can't it? So I'm going to go with the draw after 90 minutes, Oldham to win it. After that. That's my prediction, one way or the other.
I probably shouldn't jinx this, but we do always score. We've scored for many games in a row, so probably a 1-1 is more likely than a 0-0 or a 1-0. But I think it probably is going to be a tight one, isn't it? Just based on the occasion and 2 teams coming into it riding high, I guess. It'll just be what type of game it turns out to be. If we can impose our game on you, then that probably makes us favourites. Whereas if you can kind of make it a different kind of battle, then and play it to your strengths, then it'll be totally different.
Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate you reaching out, mate. It's nice to talk to you again.
Yeah, thanks a lot for your time. And
no worries.
Like I say, a safe journey, and may the best team win.
Indeed.
Cheers,
mate.
Okay, so we've heard what Matt had to say from the Oldham point of view. Be interested in hearing everyone's reaction to that. I mean, particularly, he said he sees it as a 50-50 game.
I'll bite. I'll go first. I'll go first. Like, you have to be really careful how you say what you want to say regarding this fixture, because you don't want to get any sort of accusations of arrogance or complacency. But if you ask any level-headed Oldham fan, they will have us as favourites for this, and rightfully so, based on the form, based on the table, based on everything that's come in the first 46 games. We are York fans. We're going to be naturally a bit, hesitant to, lavish praise ahead on ourselves ahead of this fixture and say how we play will win this match. But I genuinely believe that if we play our game to the best of each player's ability, we quieten down the Oldham supporters who fair play are bloody loud, as we found out at our place all those Mondays ago. Or was it Friday? I forget. I've etched it out of my mind since they decided they won the game 1-1. We should be okay. Now, I'm not having this rubbish about playoffs being lotteries. I don't believe it. There is a logic to everything that happens. Hinshelwood will have them drilled. He would have likely guessed we were going to play Oldham based on, the physicality of their side and how poor Halifax have been in the build-up to this. They will have looked into every aspect of this fixture. And if we're worried about how giddy Oldham are getting, remember how they won the league in January, They got giddy before they played us, in the Boxing Day fog fixture. And then the rearranged game, which we absolutely played them off the park at a canter. Now, I know that they've had players come back. They've had, some new players come in on transfer, etc. and it's probably a very different 11 to what we took on at Boundary Park as we saw at the LNER. But I'm really, really confident going into this game based on what we can do. We've got 96 points for a reason. Our form going into this is fantastic. We should be really confident. We should be proud of ourselves. I really do believe that we're a very strong favourite going into this. And if you want my opinion, genuinely about 60-70%, it's going to be us. So, any Oldham fans want to clip this and play it on the team bus on the way to Yorkshire on Tuesday, you go right ahead. But I genuinely believe we're going to win this.
Even better, mate. We clipped it and played it on the Boundary Park Alert System podcast. Oh, fantastic! I just need to acknowledge that I'm not a level-headed Oldham fan. Obviously,
yeah. Yeah. Well, to be fair to them, I had them as favourites, and I thought we would struggle. And there was a point between 5 and 23 minutes whenever Ghana scored where they seemed to have a lot of the ball, but they weren't doing much with it. That was hurting us. But and so I understand this. I guess there's a balance between confidence and overconfidence. And the things that run through my mind at this point are, other than sort of having a little bit of a laugh at them, even though they're nice lads and we don't mean it in a nasty manner. Collectively, going into this game at Wembley, off the back of 2 playoff games that we've won aggregate 7-0, we need to remind ourselves not to be overconfident, because Southend are a good side and they've taken 4 points off us this year. We've only taken 1. They have had the hoodoo over us over recent seasons, including that terrible game, the opening game of the season last year. So we've got to go into this game with the same mindset collectively, fans and players. I think our players have got the experience to manage that. Our manager definitely has. We've got to go into it not getting over giddy as well, and just back the players throughout the game, however it ebbs and flows, because there is a fine balance, isn't there? It's totally understandable for York to have been confident, but they were a little bit too cocky there. And in the lead up to that game, you could see the cockiness / their panic sort of spilling over with the whole Ollie Pearce is injured. No, he's not. Jesus Christ. We could all see that play from. So attitude going into this week is really, really important, I think. But I mean, the things, when you're talking about Gaz Mealy before saying everything's forgiven, I mean, I've got to say, Mike Fondop in these 2 games has been nothing short of magnificent. And he's done everything right. He's been an absolute handful. And so my criticism of what I watched earlier on in the season, he's proved me entirely wrong in these 2 games and deserves all the credit and the plaudits that are coming. So I should say the same thing. Long may it continue. I want it to continue. But all of them, every one of them in these last 2 games has been superb. So we just need that to continue during this week, don't we? And not to get too ahead of ourselves. Now we've got to Wembley.
Agreed. And look, I think we should just say, if you want to listen to the whole thing, I listened to their podcast on the way down to London, because I couldn't get enough content. I'd not got the chance on the drive. I fell asleep in the car on the way home. I wasn't driving, obviously, and I couldn't take it all in until the morning. So I was sitting there watching the highlights and the videos, and I thought, well, I'll have a listen to them and see what they had to say in response to what I had to say. And I giggled like you 2 did as you were listening, and it was all good fun. But if you want to listen to it, it's the Same Old City podcast, and it's also the Same Old City on Twitter if you want to follow them or whatever. But just be gentle with them, guys. Come on, because they'll be feeling it, won't they? But
they will. Should we talk about the ticketing fiasco at some point?
Yes,
we should probably get stuck into that. What else have I written down here? Just discuss. You're talking about hairs on the standing up. We're listening to that commentary that you played at the very start of this. Also, that piece of footage and audio that they recorded with Mikey that the media team put out in the lead up to that York game made my hair stand up. Mikey did that brilliantly, didn't he? Really took it to heart. So all the media stuff and the whole build up, and it's just that balance of confidence, overconfidence, getting everyone together.
It's brilliant. It's brilliant what they've done.
Yeah, no, superb. But the ticketing now, you think about all those fans that are trying to get tickets. I mean, yesterday was fun, wasn't it, for us trying to buy tickets? We've sold 10,500. Southend have done 12.5 in a day. What was your experience like, Matt? Tell us what you had support with.
Well, look, I think the first thing to do is to say that we're not having a pop at the club here, because
No.
I mean, in terms of the guys in the ticket office were there till 10 p.m. I made a joke when I went in to pick up my York tickets to Adam and said, "Look, Adam, there's smoke coming off you, mate." Like, he'd not stopped. Like, you know what I mean? If he's a robot, he'd have burnt out. Like you said, the stuff in the media. You know, it's not a massive team of people at Boundary Park. It's not a massive staff, and they've worked really hard to build up the hype and the atmosphere and everything towards the games and stuff. But it seems that this future ticketing system is not. It's everything but future ticketing. It's all in the name. It can't handle it. It doesn't seem. And there's Stockport fans used to apparently Stockport. This is anecdotal from a fan, but Stockport cancelled their contract with them because they weren't fit for purpose. And presumably it's the same scenario where they've gone from, having low demand, not really, there not being the volume demand for tickets like there is in these last few games, as Stockport have risen up the pyramid and apparently they've binned them off. And I think it's time we binned them off, because I was sat there yesterday. I went up to my mum's because she wanted to order online, so she wanted me to be there to make sure she was doing it all right and everything. And I'm sat in the middle, Harriet's on my left, and my mum's on my right. And we've all got our laptops out, and with like phones, laptops, all the bank details, copy paste, ready to go. Boom, boom, boom. We're going to do this super quick. We've got Harriet's getting 4 on one ticket. I'm getting 4 on another ticket, and 4 on this ticket. And it's like. Everyone we've got our names, who this is for such and such. So we're at military operation, and then we're putting our email addresses in with that's associated to our season ticket card, and it's just saying that this is not. You don't have access to this event. Basically saying that this email address is not valid as a. So it's all crazy. Harriet's didn't work, mine didn't work, my mum's didn't work, my dad's didn't work. Finally, we chanced upon my brother's, and his worked. And he had 3 season tickets because he's got 2 boys. So we were able to get 12 tickets. But then we were still left short. Now, obviously, there wasn't necessarily a need to panic at this stage. However, you're trying to get the seats that you want in the part of the stadium that you want. You're trying to get them together because you don't know what seats are going to go where. So there is an element of it of where you're like, just want to get this done. And what should have worked didn't work, and so something's gone wrong with ticketing system in the software or whatever, so that certain email addresses worked, like yours did, Andy. Yours worked.
Yeah, well, it did to a degree. I got on. I've got 5 season tickets, so technically I could buy 20. So I only needed 6. So I went on to buy 6. And it wouldn't let me. It said that exceeds your maximum allocation. So I reduced it to 4, knowing that I could get 4 on one season ticket. Managed to buy 4. Took a note of the row and block number I was in because I needed 2 next to it. Then tried to go in via another season ticket that I had, but that didn't work. So I went back to my original season ticket and it let me buy 2 more. So
But it was the email addresses that it was letting you in on, because so if you've got the email address, however many season tickets were associated with that email address was how many tickets you could buy. So because people were saying yesterday, why we're not using the barcodes anymore, and the barcode only represents 1 season ticket. So it was better this way because you could go in and, like you say, if you've got 5 season tickets and you're buying for all your family, you can do it all in one transaction, and it should be easier. So that's the reason for that. So no problem with that being the case. It was the fact that it didn't actually work that was the problem. And and in the end, I managed to get 16 tickets on 3 rows, like in front of each other, so I'm delighted, but we got it sorted. But it took like an hour and a half of sitting there going, what the hell's going on here?
But you basically had fans contact each other and working out which email addresses work. So people were using other people's email addresses to get tickets. I did that for people because it's the only way they had season tickets themselves but couldn't get them, and so you ended up doing that. I mean, I think it's fine. Everyone will get one, but we did 10,500 out of initial allocation of 17,500. I think the club have said they get another 2.5, maybe 5 if they can sell coach and ticket packages because of the transport in. So this is a point of note. This, if you're running a coach or a minibus yourself, you need to contact the club to tell them, because they can use your tickets as allocation towards that, which means they can increase capacity for those that want to travel on the public transport network. So please do let them know if you're doing that, and then we can maximise the number of tickets we sell. But it's the whole future ticketing thing, the whole Brent Council, TFL, and National League shambles, isn't it? The highest attendance at a National League final is 47,000 10 years ago. We'd have beat that, I think, but I don't know whether we'll get the chance to with the restrictions.
Well, what's your
view, Mike?
Let's bring Mike in, because Mike, you're someone who attends Wembley and different final. You were there yesterday for the Championship playoff. You're down there a lot more than the average Oldham fan, and presumably you get in with your press pass anyway. So you don't have to panic for tickets in the same way. But obviously, you probably want friends and family to be coming. But hang on a minute, you're good friends with the CEO, so that shouldn't matter either. But but like, you have a very different experience of Latics, of Wembley and the whole system. What do you make of this whole thing with the train station and the limited tickets and all that stuff?
Well, I'll start by saying I dread to think how much this weekend is going to cost me. We as soon as it came out, there's 12 of us, and we've known each other a long time, and we're like, and we got a box on the Friday. So I feel a little bit lucky that I've missed out on all this.
Yeah.
But with regards to the situation, look, I think, you got to be careful what you say and what you can say, what you can prove and what you can't. I think the owners are blameless in this. I think this is clearly a legacy issue. It's easy for me to say because we got sorted out nice and early, but I'm pretty confident that every Latics fan that wants to get a ticket for this final is going to get one. I think clearly when the decision has been made to host it on this day, they have not reckoned on the two clubs with the biggest fan bases in the league being at that fixture. Now, there's two ways of looking at that. One, you can say, well, that's a disgrace. How could they not do that? It's pathetic. Or you could cut them a bit of slack and think, did anyone think this is going to be Oldham versus Southend? Really? Where I've got a problem with it is there are still two train stations open. There's Wembley Stadium and there's Wembley Central. I can say this because by the time the pod comes out, I would imagine it'll have moved on. I spoke to Andy Burnham this morning, and he's been on the case, and he was saying they are putting pressure on them to get the cap lifted from between 60 to 70. And there should be movement on that, if not by the time the pod comes out. It's football fans. That's plain and simple. So there's something going out there about a Taylor Swift concert when Wembley Park Station wasn't open and there was 89,000 there for that. There was no restrictions. There have been other events at Wembley that haven't been subject to restrictions. Andy Burnham made the point. There are Premier League football clubs with big stadiums who don't have anywhere near the infrastructure that Wembley has got around it, and they're never subject to restrictions.
Chelsea, Spurs, and Arsenal.
Twickenham, for example.
Yeah.
Have you ever tried going to a rugby game at Twickenham? It's absolute carnage. But there's a level of trust that people will be human beings. So I think, I get the outrage because it's Oldham, because it's Southend. I think even if the cap stayed the same, the fact that you're getting 17,500, and then I think Latics said in their statement they could get up to 9,000 on the coach. Given it's taking you, and God bless, the British transport system, given if you got the train from Manchester, it was going to take you thick end of 4 hours to get there anyway. A lot of people from Oldham will be getting the coach. So I actually don't think we're affected as harshly as Southend are. But obviously, if you got to rise above your club loyalties and just say you want as many people as there possible on the day, I can't see, as I said before, I can't see any Oldham fans that don't want a ticket getting there for this. And it's just one of them things, isn't it? Latics, it's never plain sailing, is it? This incredible achievement, and there's something there to worry about. But I'm pretty sure that everybody will be in there, and it'll be a great atmosphere.
Yeah, imagine getting 60,000 fans in Wembley for a National League playoff final. That would just be incredible numbers. And Southend, they've got a great fan base and they've been through a lot, and it will be a great occasion. There's no doubt about it. I've been looking at all the little omens. I'm not like, you get all superstitious all of a sudden when this starts come, doesn't it? Like yesterday, like Crystal Palace and both Crystal Palace and Sunderland were the underdogs, and they were both in the west side of the stadium. So like, oh, there's a little omen and things like that. On the way to York, we had all these little things. Like, oh, that's an omen. Oh, that's a good omen. So, but Southend will be doing exactly the same thing. It's just
Southend, by the way, won the League Two playoffs in 2005 and 2015. And this is 2025. So but
it's the year of the bird, though, isn't it? All the teams are birds in the ground. There you go.
It's exactly year of the bird. It's the other thing is we were in the West Stand for both of our previous visits, so I don't know how you take to that, but the whole sort of repetition thing with 2005, 15, 25. I mean, I remember when we played Forest in the previous League Cups. Arsenal had beaten Liverpool. Arsenal got to final the year after, lost to Luton. Luton got to final year after, lost to Forest. Forest got to the final year after and lost to. Oh no, they didn't lose the Beatles. So like the whole repetition pattern things don't always work out. But yeah, you do all that sort of stuff. I mean, I happen to have when we were getting tickets yesterday. I mean, I'd have taken anywhere, given it was a bit sort of I needed to get 6 together. But I went with the other side of the stand, the south, towards the south stand corner, the south stand and west stand, to where you are, Matt, in that corner. And I partly did that because that's where I went with my mum and dad the first time I went with Forest. So I wanted to sort of get back to that sort of view because it will bring back some memories, hopefully better ones this time. But it was because I needed to get 6 together and I didn't want to do it on the other side because they seem to be going quicker. You know what I mean? So, I think everyone will get one. And with a bit of luck, they'll open some more up. But it should be a fantastic atmosphere, bit of a party. I'm pleased for Southend after what they've been through. It'll be a bit unifying. I don't think there'll be any animosity between the two clubs, will there? It'll all be like, well done, best of luck to you after today. It'll be great.
And I think, like you said, Mike, about, like you said, it's football fans, and there can't be that much trouble in and around Wembley on final days. It's big family occasions, isn't it? And like I said, Mike, you go a lot more than we do, but my experience when I was 12 was Oldham v Forest. It was very amicable. Fans were playing football against each other. I remember it was all a big family day out. There's no need to be worried about things happening, is there?
No, absolutely not. And just going on the omens thing and people, thinking about lucky stuff and all that. I wore the same clothes for the York game that I wore for the Halifax game. I did wash them, but and I'll be doing it again at Wembley, I think. So stupid, innit? Because as Andy says, you'll have Southend fans doing the same.
Yeah, of course. But whatever helps to sort of like keep the nerves down a little bit, then it's a good thing. But I went when I was queuing for my Halifax ticket, picking up my Halifax ticket. I was stood next to the. Obviously, it's a great move putting the ticket office in the club shop, isn't it? So they had a home shirt in the reduce. So you know what, I'm going to. I said I'll buy one. I said it out loud. I'll buy one of these for Wembley. I said so. I bought it and we're at Wembley. So all these little things, they all add up, don't they? Happy days. Like it's a new phase for the podcast, isn't it, Andy? Because we've not had any. I mean, a lot of us said at the beginning of this playoff campaign, if we can get to Wembley and we get a day out, then it's a success. Obviously, once you're there, you desperately want to win, and we'll all have a great day out. But if we lose, we'll be gutted, won't we? We'll be gutted.
I don't want to go to Truro. No, let's be brutally honest. I do want to get promoted, but we've been saying this since the Rothwells took over. It's only 3 years since they took over. That's it. 3 years. Yeah. Your average stay in National League, we calculated last season was 4 years. We look at all the teams that come out of the Football League. We're ahead of schedule in terms of where we find ourselves right today. We've had some rather uncomfortable bumps in the road along the way. We've just got to remain patient. The club is in great hands. There's a great future for it. We just got to be patient and not demand too much too quickly and look where we are. With a bit of luck, this time next week, we could be celebrating promotion back to the Football League. And I'll tell you what, if we did, this is what I've said before, I expect us to be competing at the top end of League Two pretty quickly. So this could be the beginning of the real momentum move forward. So everyone get behind a team on Sunday. Let's make a massive noise. Southend will make a racket. We're gonna have to do well to outsing them. I think we can do it.
And what we need to do, what we need to be prepared for as well, is because these two last games have been perfect. Like, you couldn't have, Mike, you're a writer. If you were going to write it and you didn't want any drama, you'd have gone for 3-0 up in 12 minutes against Halifax. 2 quick goals after half time to make it 3-0. You couldn't have written it any better. We've not been behind. We've not really been under any pressure. That might well happen. Now, Southend are the Kings are coming from behind in the playoffs. They've been behind both times and they've left it late. But if we go behind, we've just got to keep doing what we're doing. Just keep making that racket. Don't let the nerves get the better of us as a fan base, as a team. Just keep going, because that energy that we've had of these last 2 games could be the difference. We've just got to, we've got to earn the right to go up against Southend, haven't we? It's going to be tough.
Yeah, and a lot of it is about composure, and that's as much for the fans as it is for the players. For the Sunderland game yesterday, obviously Sheffield United went 1-0 up. They scored again and it got disallowed. But up until that goal got disallowed, I was amazed at how quiet the Sunderland fans were. And I was talking to somebody next to me. He's like, well, you'd be quiet, wouldn't you, if you're out in Trafalgar Square till 3:00 in the morning? Part of it's like, yeah, I get that we're in Wembley, you want to make the most of it. But, bring your voices. Make sure you're ready for it on Sunday. And from a player's perspective, we are fortunate in that we've got a lot of players and a manager who've been there before. Just keep your heads. How hard must that be for Mikey, who, is a very emotional guy who wears his heart on his sleeve. And now it's looking like the fans have paid for his dad to come over. And, the amount of pressure that he will probably feel on himself to go out there and make a difference. It's like, just do what you do, Mikey. And that's not just Mikey. That's the same of all the players. Just deliver what you delivered in the last 2 games, and we'll be all right.
Just go out and enjoy it. He's absolutely earned the right to. He's the player of the season, my player of the season. He's confounded my criticisms and proved me wrong throughout the season. There's been points where I think what I've said is valid, but he's deserved the right to be there, and just go out and enjoy it, because for a footballer, you've heard some of them speak when they've been interviewed by the club. These are once in a lifetime opportunities for these boys sometimes. And you've just got to hope that the likes of Manny Month, James Norwood, Tom Pett, Tom Conlon, who've all been there before, can help those boys that haven't and manage them through it.
I'll tell you what, we've got to give a shout out to Joe Garner as well. He's been absolutely brilliant these last 2 games. You were talking about us playing direct, Andy, at times. It's worth doing it now, because James Garner wins headers. The way that he manipulates. Sorry, what did I say, James? I'm mixing the two up, aren't I? Joe Garner, the way that he manipulates the defender's body, uses them, and his timing is superb. Like, he's really, really good in the air, and he wins free kicks, and he's horrible to play against. But that finish against York, it was like a training ground finish. The ball just dropped to him, and without a second thought, he just smashed it in bottom corner. Didn't think it at all. Boom, and he's been the difference. And we saw a glimpse of it last season, didn't we? Where Fondop and Garner looked like a useful partnership. And these last 2 games have just been magnificent. And Mellon said at the fans forum, when he was asked about Alex Reid coming back off the back of scoring all these goals for Wealdstone, and he said, "Look, I've got my squad of players, and I trust the players that I've used this season." And he very diplomatically said, "I'm not bringing anyone back in who hasn't featured already," without sort of saying, "No, I'm not playing Alex Reid." And obviously, Joe Garner was one of those players, and he's been brilliant. So all of a sudden, we've got goals in us. Scored 7, conceded none, going into the playoffs. It's been perfect so far. So we've just got to look forward to that now.
Talking about scores, on the various visits that you've made to the podcast before, Mike, what scores have you got on Latics' mind? Can you recall?
I'm trying to forget. 4 rings about. I remember I got one last year with Winston DeBose. That was the answer. I was quite pleased with that. That's my abiding memory of Latics' mind.
Well, listen, you've got a chance now to top your PB and set the standard.
God.
Andy, what did you get? 4, was it?
Yeah, I got 4 when I
go?
did it. Although
Yeah,
I think my questions were difficult. You chose some difficult questions for me, Matt.
I literally read them out as they came, Paul said that they were supposed to be mixed up a bit, but I just read them as they come out. So anyway, listen, it doesn't matter. This doesn't matter. This is just a bit of fun. Ahead of Wembley. Okay, good luck, Mike.
Thank you.
Who did Luke Beckett score his only Latics hat-trick against?
Huddersfield.
Wrong, it was Blackpool. Who was the last Latics player to score a hat-trick?
Jesus. Norwood?
Correct. Roger Palmer scored 3 hat-tricks in 1987-88. Shrewsbury away, Carlisle at home in the League Cup, and against who else?
Ipswich?
Wrong, it was Stoke City. Who scored home and away versus Notts County in 2022-23?
Nuttall.
Correct. Who was Joe Royle's last league game against as manager before going to Everton?
Oh, it was Walsall when he came back. Can I have a point for that?
No.
Reading.
Tranmere Rovers. What was the name of the man who ran the Latics programme shop at the back of the Rochdale Road end?
No idea.
Pass. In addition to Kevin Moore, which other centre-back did Latics sign in the 1986-87 season?
Linnigan?
Wrong, it was Aaron Callahan.
Oh.
How many goals did Latics concede in total in their 2 visits to Tottenham Hotspur in the Premier League?
9.
Correct. Who scored an own goal playing for West Ham at Boundary Park in October 1991?
Julian Dix.
Wrong, it was Tim Breaker. Which American team did Latics beat 3-1 at Boundary Park in a pre-season game in 1988?
Baltimore Blast.
Seattle Storm. Who played... I've started, so I'll finish. Who played in goal for Latics in the 4-3 Great Escape game against Southampton?
Horworth. No, Gerard.
I'll take your first answer, Michael.
No, come on.
No, I'll take your first answer.
I can still see him trying to get down to that Matt Letitia header that didn't bounce.
Yeah. Not having that, and no one else is having it who's listening either. So you got... So you got a total of 3 correct in there, and you had 1 pass, which was, can you name the man who ran the Latics programme shop at the back of the Rochdale Road? And do you know his name?
Was it Programme Pete?
No, it was Jim Curtin. And I know he's no longer with us now. There's quite a bit of footage of him in the 90s. He was always interviewed by BBC News and what have you. So I remember him. Yeah.
No, I don't remember him. No,
they were tough. They were tough questions.
Yeah, there was some tough ones. Yeah, how many did you get in the end?
4.
Let me check that. I think he got 3. You're not having the Gerrard. Not a chance.
You did say John Horworth.
He did say
John
John Horworth.
I corrected myself before I got a response. I said, no, Paul.
Well, let's put it this way, Mike. The Joe Nuttall question, not as count. I knew the answer, but in my head, I said Joe Garner, and I didn't give myself a point because that was my first answer in my head. So
but you didn't say Joe Nuttall. I said Paul Gerrard.
Yeah, but I couldn't follow it
after
up.
You said John Horworth.
And yeah, exactly. So
outrageous.
It's outrageous. Yeah.
If I worked for the Guardian and not the Daily Mail, you'd have given it me.
Brilliant.
Yeah. Right. Well, speaking of right wing, Joe Pritchard is another one who's been brilliant, isn't he? He's been fantastic down that right hand side. It's just so good to have all this to talk about going into. I mean, the fact that we're going to Wembley is brilliant enough, but the players have been magnificent and the manager's been magnificent. And Mickey Mellon, I think he was out applauding the crowd yesterday who were queuing up. He waited until all the sort of players the fans had come back on the pitch against York, and waited and came back out and clapped everybody. Everybody's conducting themselves really, really well, and I'm just dead proud. I'm dead proud of everybody. I'm proud to be a Latics fan. I wouldn't have it any other way. I wouldn't support anybody else. The fact that we're still here, that we still believe. Did you read that piece that Macca wrote on his blog about Mike Fondop and the power of belief? We should share it, put it in the show notes maybe. It was really, really good. And you know, the faith, the phrase "keep the faith" is one that's been chucked around a lot at Latics over the years, and it really has been a massive, massive test of character, of faith, of belief. And here we are, though. We're going to Wembley this time next week, as we record. We'll be drinking beer, and we'll be on Wembley Way, and it's just, and anything could happen. And this time next year, we could have completed our season back in the Football League where we belong. It's a lifelong thing supporting a football club, and unfortunately, it's been a whole generation that have missed out on any kind of success. So I'm just want to put it out there to everybody who was at the Halifax game, to everybody who was at the York game, to everybody who played for Latics, who's been involved in Latics, the media team, the ticket office, everybody, the Rothwell family, all of us. I think we just all can walk up Wembley with our heads held high as from where we've come from to where we are now and where we're going. And I'm just absolutely buzzing. And I'm so proud that we have the opportunity, Andy, to talk about it every week and bring people like you on mic and other fans and talk to fans all the time. Buzzing. We're a club on the rise. We're a club on the move, and it's about fucking time, isn't it, gents? Yeah, brilliant. So, Andy, I'll see you. He seems to have frozen. He's either froze or he's welling up with intensity there. But I think he's frozen. But I'm going to see Andy next week. I'm staying in a hotel not too far from Andy, so I'm going to pop down to see him on Saturday. We're all going to bump into loads of people we know because all of Oldham's going to be there. Mike, I hope you have a great time with everybody down at the club. Thanks for coming on today.
No, my pleasure. And just on that, I know we're in the spirit of thanking everybody. I'm sure you won't mind me saying, but to see the place like it was against Halifax, and I messaged Luke Rothwell the next day, and Luke was saying, we've always thought if we got good or if we had something to cheer about, we could fill this place. And there's like a sense of vindication there for them. And I just think, regardless of what happens on Sunday, we've had a glimpse now, more than one occasion, of what this club can be. And that's, you just can't underestimate that. But forget that, let's go and stuff them.
Let's go and stuff them, and let's have a great time in London. I've just got something a little bit special to play us out with, Mike. But thanks again. We're going to join. We're going to have the phone in on Thursday, the big Wembley phone in. And listen, guys, you never phone in. But if you can't get up for phoning in to talk about going to Wembley, then I might just have to give the phone in up next season. Give us a ring on the phone in. Look out for the links on social media. And let's talk about going to Wembley. One person won't be going to Wembley this season, but never mind. Cheer up, Joshy Stone.
Hey Dave, did you know that listeners can now buy us a coffee or any other kind of hot beverage?
Ooh.
What's your favourite hot beverage, Dave?
A macchiato.
And how do you like your macchiato?
Black with lots of milk. Oh.
No cream?
No.
Well, if you want to buy Dave a
macchiato,
then go to buymeacoffee.com/We Are Oldham. I'll just have a Nescafe.
Oh. Thank you, listeners.